All right, Sarah, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I'm so excited to tell you about the Masters of Professional Communication program here at SUU. So if you remember a couple days ago, I emailed you what your specific questions were about the program so that I was able to prepare all these things for you. So from those questions that you emailed me about, I actually created these handouts that will kind of help you follow along with what I'm talking about, but also provide really good references for you in the future when you're at home figuring stuff out, or you need an answer really quick and I'm not able to answer through the phone or email. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. Okay, so the first question that you talked about was you wanted to know about the classes and the coursework in this specific program. So the Masters of Professional Communications, or what is known as the MAPC, is a program that is offered 100% online as well as on campus. And so this enables you to stay in Cedar and take classes on campus when you can or online. But it also enables you, if you need to move or you're traveling, you can still take the classes and do all the homework online, which is super great because that means you can have all the flexibility in your personal and work life without having to drop everything for school. So along the lines with that is there are some classes that are only online, and they are called the professional development classes. And they're half a semester, they're not a lot of actual coursework, but those are the only ones that are offered online because they're not actually something you need a face-to-face conversation with. So because it's also 100% online, you don't have to log in at a specific time to do your homework. So it's not like you have to log in at 9 a.m. to watch a webinar or to do a discussion at noon. It's just you need to have the assignments done and turn in at a certain time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. So also part of that is this program itself is very flexible to whatever field that you want to go in. Just because it's communication doesn't mean that you have to go into journalism or advertising or public relations. You can do whatever you want. I know people who do go into public relations and advertising, but I also know individuals who go into event management and higher education and nursing and different things because they know communication is in every field. And so specifically with you, with your interest in hotel management and hospitality, you can use this degree in your thing because you can prove and you can use how you communicate with people, of how you communicate with customers who come in, how you deal with housekeepers and different things. That's all communication. So this program is just helping you kind of like find a new way or a better way to communicate with those people. And so the program itself is 36 credits. So if you look at this worksheet, the 36 credits, 6 of those credits are required, and so you will have to take those classes when they are offered during the semester. There is one class that is only offered in the summer, and so typically students actually take a bigger workload or a normal workload of classes during the summer because they already have to take one class. And then the remaining 6 of your classes are electives, and they can be from the comm department, but if you have an interest that is more in the MPA or MBA field, you can actually take those elective classes with the director's approval, which is really nice because I know when I was doing this program, one of my last classes I actually took from the MPA because they had a higher education environment class, and so it specifically worked and I was able to get approval for my class. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So one of the classes I also want to talk about is the capstone. So the capstone is a class that you have to take in order to graduate with this degree. It's kind of like the requirement you need to complete. So with the capstone, there's 3 different options you can do. So there's the professional thesis, the professional project, or the advancement internship. And so what these 3 are, they basically give you an opportunity to show what you've learned throughout the program and applying it to a very specific thing. So the internship and the project are more hands-on basis because you actually complete an internship with a company or organization of your choosing, and then you complete that all and you actually can get graduate credit for that. And then during your capstone class that you'll register for, you can actually take that time because you will have to write a follow-up paper about what you learned in different things, and so you actually get credit for that as well. The professional thesis is a little different. It's more along the lines of another research paper that you will write, but you have a lot of flexibility with that. And so I know students who have, for their thesis, they do a whole new research study that they've never done before, or they expand a research that they've done before. So for me, I did a professional thesis, and I actually expanded on multiple research papers that I did throughout my program, because I was interested in learning more and like researching more about it. And so it provided me the opportunity to know everything going into it, but then actually still having to be able to do research and prove that I learned all this stuff through my program. So, and all of that is also, you can also choose any field that you want to go in. So if you want to do a specific project in the hotel that you're working on and get capstone credit and work credit, basically, you can. And there's no saying, no, I'm sorry, you can only work in the journalism or do the project in a journalism. So that's really helpful, because it basically means you can make this program however you want. So something else about that you should know about the courses is that the courses have very similar homework loads, that you will be reading chapters from books and articles for almost every class. Some classes have more reading, some classes have more hand-on projects, but you will do a lot of reading and a lot of writing, and in almost every class you will either do a research paper or a hands-on project, depending on the class. And like I said before, you can make those however you want. So for all the classes that I attended, I actually made all my final papers and projects in higher education, because that's what I wanted to focus on. And so you can really make anything you're learning about applicable to what you want to study. Any questions that you have for that so far?
Nothing so far.
Okay.
It all makes sense, so.
No, that makes, yeah. Okay. So then the second thing you kind of wanted to know about is the thing everybody wants to know about: how much it's going to cost you to get a master's degree, because it's probably not cheap.
Yeah.
So the Master's of Professional Communication at SUU is a very flexible program. You won't get entered into a cohort or a specific group and you have to take classes at a certain time or whatnot. That is completely up to you. You can take how many classes in how many semesters for how long you want. So I printed out this table of tuition. So a typical class that you will take is 3 credits. So if you took one class by itself, it would be a little over $1,500. But if you, and that's just taking one class, and you could take one classes for however you want it to spread out depending on your life situation. I know majority of students who enter into the program like their first year or so, they kind of want to get used to everything and not have to like spend hours doing homework after working all day and different things. So they typically take 7 credits, which is 2 3-credit classes, and then a 1-credit class, which I mentioned was the professional development class. You have to take those 3 times. So it's kind of like makes your numbers a little off, but it works just kind of easing you in. So to take those 3 classes costs you a little over $2,800. And it's a really good, I would recommend this for someone's first semester for sure, because it kind of gives you that time to balance homework with the reading and then doing the classes and still having a life with work and family and different things. At SUU though, the policy is you won't be considered a full-time graduate student unless you are registered for 9 or 10 credits. For this specific program, I believe it is 10 because of the 3 1-credit classes we offer. But as you can tell here, the prices vary, but not hugely. And so if you kind of look going down, you will see that the price per credit actually decreases the more credits you take. So it makes it more worth taking more classes per semester than just one class, then one class, and then one class. So because of this, like I said, how it's flexible, you can finish the program in 5 years, you can finish it in 2 years. I know students who finish it in 1.5 years. So it depends on what your schedule is like. So I know for me personally, I completed this program in 2 years and 5 semesters. So I went fall, spring, summer, fall, spring. And while it was a little chaotic during the summer and fall, like that transition, because it's very short, it enables you to kind of stay focused, and then you're done and you don't really have to worry about it. And I actually, majority of the semesters I took 3 semesters of 7 credits, 1 semester of 9, and then 1 semester of 6. So I actually was pretty evened out space-wise for credits without ever really feeling overloaded, which really helps. Any questions about the tuition table?
No. Graduate school is expensive, and I guess there's no way to avoid spending the money. So.
Yeah, that's very true. The unfortunate thing about this program is that we actually do not offer scholarships a lot. Sometimes they do offer summer scholarships, which also helps you take more summer classes because you don't have to pay as much. But they do offer 2 assistantships to on-campus students that you can apply for the following year. So you would apply for it by March, and then you would be in that position for the next school year. And there's 2 of them. There's the teaching assistantship, where you will help teach basic classes in communication, like Com 1010 and different things for undergrad, which helps if you want to be a professor and everything. But from understanding of how you want to work in hospitality, that's probably not where if you would do it, it's probably something you wouldn't really enjoy. The second assistantship that they offer is the non-teaching, and it allows you to have more hands-on projects. And so you either help with the social media and marketing of the comm department at SUU, you help with the Thunderbird advertising group, that is the practicum class for some of the communication majors, or you help assist in research for professors. You do have a tuition waiver for both of these assistantships, but they are only offered to on-campus students, which is kind of hard when you want the flexibility of online. But those are an option for you if that's something you're interested in later on. We can talk about it and do different things. So there's those for future reference. Any questions about what I've covered so far?
No, basically everything makes some sense.
Makes some sense? Yes, it's kind of makes sense, but you don't always know what you need to look for. So the last thing you talked about that you wanted to know was the admissions requirements to get into the program, which is very sensible because you can get all excited about the program, but unless you know how to actually get into the program, it's not going to help you much. So the requirements for this program, a few of them are very universal for all the programs at SUU. So if you hear this spiel about the Master's of Professional Communication, and then you realize, no, I really want to go for an MIS, which is a Master's of Interdisciplinary Studies, which is kind of you can make your own master's degree. There's 3 things that you will need for all of them, no matter which program that you do, and that is to have complete official transcripts from the college that you got your bachelor's degree in. So if you graduated from SUU with your bachelor's, you don't have to worry about it because we can just pull up your transcripts. But you'll want to make sure if you transferred any credits to SUU, that SUU has those, so we can make sure your bachelor degree is complete. You also need to fill out the official application that is online, and it's a very simple process. You just fill out your name, date, information, and then you will have to pay the $60 of non-refundable application fee, and that kind of helps the departments and the admissions team process everything. It kind of allows them the money to do what they need to do. So those are the universal things. For this program itself, they also require you to have 3 letters of recommendation, and those can be from any references that you want. They don't have to be from professors or work professionals, or they can kind of be a mix of all of it. And there's actually a place in your online application that you can place their emails, and they will automatically get the form to fill out for your recommendation. So you can hound them about filling it out, but you don't need to send them that form, which is really helpful. They also have a GRE requirement, which is an exam that you typically have to take, but this program also offers 3 waiver options. So if you look at this one, these are the 3 waiver options. The first option is if you have a 3.7 higher GPA, you will automatically get that waived. You do still have to request it in your letter of intent, which I will talk about, but it's a very simple thing to prove that, hey, I have a very good academic standing, I can maintain this workload and different things. The second condition is having 3 years of experience or more in a professional setting. So if you, for example, worked in a hotel for 3, 4, 5 years or even more, you can give a little information about how you use communication professionally in your field. And so they're not going to ask you for a reference that says specifically, this is how I use communication, but you need to show that you know what professional communication looks like in your field. And then the last option to waive your GRE is for SUU students specifically. So if you are still doing your undergraduate and you decide that you want to do a master's, you can actually apply for our graduate bridge program, which will enable you to get undergrad upper division credits that will count towards your upper division, but they will also count for your master's degree. But you will only pay undergrad tuition, which is super helpful because if you have a scholarship, basically that class is covered because you're taking it while you're an undergrad. And if you pass that class with a B or higher, you automatically have the GRE waived, which is super helpful when you're trying to go straight from undergrad to grad school. Does these GRE waivers make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so from there, you will have a letter of intent that you will need to fill out, which is basically you're writing it to the department and in the program saying why you want to be in this program, how it will help you, and then that's where you specifically request, I would like to request my GRE waiver for my academic standing or my professional experience or whatnot. And so that is very common, but it is very needed so they understand if they need to be looking for a test score or if they're having it waived. And then the last thing that is required is the writing sample. So the writing sample is a writing that you did in your undergrad or in your work that you are very proud of, that shows your ability to write effectively and smoothly so you can express the thoughts that you have on paper and have someone else understand them. And there's not a theme for that. I know many undergrads who just submit a final paper they had to do for one of their classes to show that they are proficient in writing because this program has a lot of writing. And that's actually all the requirements for this program as an SU student right now. There are 3 application deadlines, so you can actually enter the program at 3 different times. So you can enter in spring, summer, and fall, which helps because if you want to, if you finish school in fall but you don't really want to start school in spring, so you can start it in summer and get right into the program, that works. And so there are 3 deadlines that they like to have everything due, but I would actually consider them soft deadlines because you can submit things later than that, but it is a little harder. It takes a little longer to have it reviewed because the committee is off doing different things, different responsibilities, so it does take a little longer, but you can apply later than the deadline, which is nice because it gives everyone the ability to get into the classes and get into the programs that they need. Does that all make sense? Any questions about the requirements?
No, the only thing I have is if I get into the program, do I come back to you for help with getting into classes or what classes to take?
So typically what I would recommend is after you've been accepted into the program, you will receive a email from the director of the program, whose name is Matt Barton, and he will actually give you a list of classes that will be offered this semester that you're going to be entering the program, and so that will help you direct that way. But for additional questions on the classes or what to expect from the classes, I would actually go directly to Matt Barton, who is the director, because he works hands-on with those professors and he's able to tell you very bluntly and very honestly of how those classes are and the best way to take them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Perfect. So any last minute questions you have?
Not at the moment.
Perfect. Well, I hope this information helps you with your decision of, potentially going to grad school. I know it's a lot, but luckily you get to keep all this paperwork, and feel free to email me or call me on my phone if you have any questions, because I know it's a very big decision and it's very scary. And even if you have questions, even though I just told you to ask Matt, if you have very specific questions that, should I take this class online or on campus, when you're in the program, please reach out to me. I did that for over half of my program because I wanted to know what other students thought, and it helps getting another student's perspective because they'll tell you how it is, and they just won't tell you what the catalog says, which is kind of fun. But please feel free to, contact me if you have any questions or concerns.